to ensure smooth operations and high employee morale in a factory environment?
Okay. When you talk about this leadership style, it is mostly about engaging the people. Uh,
Hmm.
so things are very important. I would say that set the if in a case of a leadership,
Hmm.
you set the agenda. That's the first thing that you need to do. Second thing is do the right things in the right way, and third one is take people along. So which means that you have to align everyone to do the right things in terms of achieving the KPIs, the business objectives, all the KPIs which are supposed to be achieved by everyone.
Hmm.
Second is do it in the right way in terms of do it in a compliant way, which means that you have to make sure that you're following the process, you're not doing any shortcut in the process. And third one is you get the results only when everyone is along with you,
Okay.
right from the senior managers to the middle managers to the lowest people who are working on the floor, including the shop floor employees. Uh, when I say shop floor employees, which means not just the shop floor employees, but also the contract laborers, also the trainees who are working for you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on with the next question, we'll be having, how do you manage to retain skilled workers in a highly competitive industry, especially in a factory setup?
Yeah. That's really a very challenging. Uh, that's a real challenge for everyone in the industry because when you train someone, you are investing your time, you are investing your energy, you are making sure that he is learning all the right skills in terms of safety, in terms of quality, in terms of productivity, in terms of cost. Yeah, but that's a real challenge to retain the right talent and right skill in the industry. Um, but the the challenge that is there is that people have a lot of options. There are a lot of other industries who will offer the similar or competitive uh, you know money
Hmm.
as a compensation and benefit. And unless until you create a differentiation between different industry, and unless until you create some kind of value for the person, unless until you create some kind of differentiation in terms of the person use finds that getting associated with you is really making sense to him, unless until you create some kind of attachment for the person
Hmm.
within your industry, switching industry is very very easy. Yeah.
So maybe do you, as an leader, do you give incentives, or what are the steps that you take to retain those skilled laborers in your factory, or those skilled people in your industry at the moment right now?
So first and foremost thing is their engagement. Engagement, when I say engagement, which means looking at the right compensation and benefits. Incentive can be in many other forms, right? Industry incentive can be in forms of, in terms of money.
Hmm.
Incentive can be in terms of reward, recognition.
Hmm.
And what I have seen is that, of course, at the lower level, money really works.
Okay.
So you have to design right amount of compensation and benefit, which is competitive as compared to the other industries. You must make sure that they are getting all the required required compensation and benefits, and also the required paperwork like ESI, PF. All these things are taken care of. This is called basic hygiene. You should take care of their their holidays, their mandatory leaves and offs. They should get the proper hygiene in terms of using having a right hygienic place for them to use lavatory and all,
Hmm.
and also canteen facilities. They should have proper restrooms. These are some of the things which can create a differentiation. You can also provide transportation, right?
Hmm.
And then on different occasions you also try and engage with them. When I talk about engagement, which also means that on the floor you are also engaging and involving them in improvement opportunities,
Hmm.
which can be which can be there, uh, and a timely recognition of their efforts really pays.
Okay.
That's how you can retain them.
Okay. Okay. So next we'll be moving on to decision making. Okay. So can you share an example of a challenging decision that you had to make recently and the process you followed to arrive at it?
Sorry, in the process too.
The process you followed to arrive at it.
Okay.
Hmm.
So especially when you are in the industry and not in the college, the difference is that when you are making a decision, you do not have all the data
Hmm.
in front of you. Yeah.
Hmm.
So there are times that you have to call on your gut feeling. There are times that you need to you know make a decision with the available data,
Okay.
and there are times that you need to be pragmatic in terms of what are the resources available to you,
Hmm.
right? You cannot change your people, you cannot change the environment and the culture in the company, but what you can do is you can take still a pragmatic call, which will make sure that the resources which are available to you, they are best utilized for the purpose. uh, a recent example would be that we have a we have a HVAC system
Okay.
which was not working.
Hmm.
Yeah, which was not working, and there are limited resources in terms of money that you have
Hmm.
for the budget. Everything you have to do with the budget, right? And for the HVAC and the chiller system, we are manufacturing candies. So if the candies are not provided the right relative humidity and the temperature, they'll become sticky.
Okay.
And the HVAC system was not working.
Hmm.
The decision that I had to take was that how do we make it work given the given the budget that we had in terms of maintenance activities. Maintenance and repairs has got every year we will have a fixed budget for maintenance repair, and this thing which was related with the HVAC, that was out of the budget.
Hmm.
Yeah, and none of the team members were having the right knowledge about the thermodynamics, about the heat transfer, about the fluid dynamics, which will be guiding the guiding the refrigeration system working for the factory. So the call that we had to take was, if we do not have the right resources in house, then let's get it from outside, right? So from the same maintenance and repair budget, I got someone as an expert from outside.
Okay.
We did entire studies for the entire heating load, cooling load, uh, the refrigeration cycle, the chillers capacity, the dehumidifiers and AHU's load, and the related pipe work, basis which there were certain decisions which we have taken in terms
Hmm.
of changing the pipeline, because now we could understand that from the external help that the chillers has got the sufficient capacities. It's the pipeline which is not working.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how you take decisions when you do not have information, full information in hand. Then sometimes you go with the gut feeling. Sometimes you go with getting an expert for the time being, and sometimes you also count on your experience, previous experience.
Hmm.
That's how you take decisions. Yeah. And decision making in industry is not easy. It is always constrained. It's just
Hmm.
like you don't have access to all the good resources, skills, knowledge, money. everything is a constraint.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
So it
I
was
hope
very
that
necessary for you to
helps.
repair that special piece of equipment because it could have affected the total factory output.
Yes.
So, okay. The next question will be taken up by Raghav. Raghav, over to you.
Uh, yeah, so thank you, Vedant. And now, I'd like to move on with my set of questions I have to today. So, starting with how do you like handle resistance to change when introducing something new, as a new process or a new technology in the factory? Like nobody likes change in their work environment, right? So, how do you handle such changes?
Okay. Yes, Raghav, that's true. Nobody wants to change. That's an inertia which everybody wants to carry, right? But when it comes to change, you have to believe in the purpose. If you believe in the purpose, then it'll be easier for you to align people. Yeah.
Mm,
But for aligning people, you need to answer first question, which is there in everybody's mind. You know, what's in it for
mm,
me?
mm. Yes.
If you are able to answer what's in it for me for the last person in the chain, then probably you will be able to, align them for the change. Yeah.
Mm,
And there are 7 or 9. I would suggest that you guys, read an article about, 9 pitfalls to a change management. That's a beautiful article. I believe
okay.
it's from Harvard. It's from Harvard, Management Institute. I would encourage
Mm,
you guys to read through it. Change management is something which is very very difficult. You will have to make sure that you're creating a rally behind a particular subject. Then you will have to make sure that all the resistors, to identify all the resistors, you find out who all are the supporters of the idea. You support, the supporters. You try and make sure that the resistors who are there, they also become your advocate for change. You make sure that you're recognizing and giving rewards to the people who are in for the change. You make sure that you don't declare the change which is getting introduced as a success too soon. Yeah? These are some of the things which we you need to do, and to create that rally behind that particular change management, you must put your force behind it. The leaders, uh, they are very very key and crucial to the change management. What I believe is, if let's say as a leader, if you just do the lip service, people will be very easy to recognize that. Yeah. So when
mm,
you're talking about a change management, you'll have to live through it. You'll have to see and prove it to everyone, saying that this is how you follow the principles of change management. If you do this, these few key things, engage and involve everyone who is required for the change management, then change management happens. And sometimes the timelines for the change management, that goes for maybe beyond years. It's not just about days, not just about months, not just about a year, but there are certain
mm.
change management which happens through, in organizations, industries, over a period of years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we need to like get all the people together before our change is happening. So this process might help. So like moving on, what are the strategies do you employ to optimize the supply chains for cost effectiveness and like timely delivery, given the diverse Indian market, like everybody is competing. So like how do you handle that?
See, there are a couple of principles, and supply chain is a big, vast subject. Starts from demand planning, supply planning, and then it comes to the real production. Once you have produced the goods, you need to take it to the market through distribution channels. There are different distribution channels through which you take it to the market, and the principles are balancing the service level with the inventory. Yeah, so a lot of uh, management decisions are there. Basically, if you want to really do a justice to the entire supply chain, you need to adopt certain strategies in terms of doing a seamless planning, end to end seamless planning for the entire business. Yeah, that start with right. demand planning. So when you're doing a demand planning, you have to have a 24 months of horizon in front of you. Yeah.
Mm.
And you need to fix and understand that your supply chain planning has to be in sync with what is required in the market. Then as a company, when you are growing, there are certain percentage of the sales which comes from the new product developments. So while you're doing a demand and supply planning, you should also take care of the new product developments which are supposed to happen, because they are the source of generating new sales for the company. And when you are doing new product developments, it also means that certain portion of your factories capacity, that also goes for the new product development, right? So how do you produce in the factory, making sure that your capacities, your equipments are sweated fully, is something which is which has to happen in smaller horizons. Yeah. So for example, if you have a 24 months planning for demand and supply, then you should also have to bring it down to a very very granular level of planning in terms of what will you produce, which SKUs will you produce, how much will you produce, how it will impact the inventories in the entire supply chain in terms of your mother warehouse, in terms of a distribution network, and whether you are able to meet the service levels that you have decided for yourself in the market, yes or no. Yeah. So a
Mm.
couple
Yeah,
of principles that you do, as a strategy that you can manage is focus a lot in terms of how do you do your end-to-end planning. If planning process is right, you would be able to you know get what you want to get out of your factories. Second one is, mostly there are five things as a strategy, five things in your factories which you need to take care. One is, of course, safety. Then second is quality. Then third is cost in terms of delivery, and then fifth is employee morale. Right? You call it PQCDSM. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Mm.
that's what you term is basically product, quality, safety, um, cost, delivery, and morale. These are the things that you need to take care of in your factories. And as a strategy, you also try and optimize your inventories, because inventory is nothing but a cost. Yeah. So if you can, the strategy for a good supply chain would be that how agile you can be in terms of what you need to produce. Yeah. So
Mm.
when it comes to the planning part of the supply chain, and when it comes to the production of the factories, the best part is that you plan for every week, you plan for every day, you plan for every shift. As granular as you can be would help
Mm.
your supply chain to become lean and thin. Yeah. Inventory is
Yeah.
always a cost. So you
Mm.
produce what is required by the customer. You control your inventory. At the same time, you maximize your service levels. These are some of the strategies that you can utilize when you are want to make best out of your supply chain.
This
Mm.
strategy, I
Yeah.
guess, the working on the granular level and the planning was implemented by 7-Eleven, the Japanese company, for implementing the total grocery output that they were having at that moment. So maybe for that, I heard that they were planning a shift based on 3 hours and what are the requirements that they were supposed to get in the shops. So they were basically planning what are the total items that they're supposed to get or the customers were demanding, and they were repeatedly revising all those products to be supplied to the stores at every 3 hours. So I guess this is a very helpful way in optimizing the total supply chain management.
Yeah, yeah, you can get down to as granular level as possible. It may be the shift level, it may be hour level, it may be you know nowadays if you talk about all these new Gen Z companies which are like Blinkit, or maybe Flipkart, Minutes, or let's say Amazon, or Big Basket, Daily. There's so many companies which have come up. And their principle is that you store inventory in they call it as close to uh, maybe it can be a kirana store. So you store the
Hmm.
inventory as close to the customer so that when the customer order comes, you can deliver it in 10 minutes.
Hmm.
So so the so the supply chain strategies have changed over a period of time. The kind of strategies that we see here in India are far more superior as compared to anybody anywhere else in the world. And it's every day it's changing.
Yes.
It has become very very competitive. Anywhere in else in the world, you'll not find the kind of speed that we have in the supply chain practices or the speed of the supply which is there existing in India.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, so like the Indian diverse market, it's like making sure that a lot of competitive principles come up, which will help us in the long run only. And I can see that by your answer that the management people should be very proactive and responsive, like planning towards 24 hours or maybe whole 2 years in earlier. So it's very important in that case. And so like my last question will be from supplier relationship management, which is like how do you manage relationships with suppliers to ensure quality and consistency in the raw materials?
So nowadays, we are all dependent on the suppliers, and as the name signifies, signifies supplier relationship management. Yeah. So you must
Hmm.
make sure that you are on the top of the uh, your requirement from the supplier, and you must ensure that the supplier understands your need and your quality parameters. You have to influence the supplier to make sure that they are adhering to your quality standards, to your you know timely your needs. They are serving to your planning and all. And for that, constant engagement with the supplier is very very important. As a practice, there are multiple interventions that uh, nowadays the customers do with their suppliers, and the interventions start from right day one. When you are exploring someone as a supplier, right? So from day one, the quality processes, the general processes, the regulatory compliances, everything is in taken in account. Their you know uh, fiscal strength, their ability to attract talent, their physical
Yeah.
facilities. Everything is taken into account when you are onboarding a supplier into your system. Yeah?
Hmm.
And continuously monitoring the performance and giving a feedback is very very important for any suppliers also to know that how you are taking their products, what kind of challenges you are facing. So a constant engagement with the supplier is very very important. Active feedback to the supplier is very very important. And in terms of if there is any rejection which happens because of the quality issues or because of the timely supply. Hello, Raghav, are you
Yes,
there?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry, the screen froze. So I was assuming that I was not very sure if you guys are there. So monitoring the performance of the supplier and giving them a feedback, timely feedback is very important. For example, let's say we are making candies. Yeah. So when the supplier from the supplier we will get the jars, we'll get the packing material, and in terms of every hour there is a truckload of jars and truckload of packaging material which we get. If there is any problem in the quality of the jars, problem in the terms of quality of the cartons, the entire supply chain stands still, right? The factory has to stop. So the kind of feedback and engagement with the supplier is so crucial that they are just like, your extended part of the work, extended part of your workplace. So having said so, they are very, very important to engage. At the same time, we also need to take care of their needs. For example, when the product comes, there is also a responsibility on the receiving, uh, you know, supply user or service user, that the timely payments are done. Like, goods received note is, prepared, uh, timely payments are released, timely feedback are given on terms of quality, in terms of, their service levels, and there is some, maybe, a monthly review kind of a meeting with the suppliers, saying that how they are doing, what they need to do better, in terms of there had been any failures, then, root cause analysis has to be done so that in future the processes can be improved. That's how you need to work with the suppliers. Yeah, they're just the extended arm of your facility, and you need to work very closely with your supplier.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very important so that the production keeps on working. There's no stoppage in between. Yeah. So thank you from my side. Now Amandeep will take over.
Thank you, Raghav. Good evening, sir.
Good
So,
evening, Aman.
my set of questions is that, sir, like risk management is quite important in like these all supply chain things. So, what risk management practices do you implement to handle disruptions like delays or quality issues, like all the that stuff?
Okay, supply chain is a big subject, right? It starts from the suppliers, gets into the production, then again the larger part of the supply chain where the mother warehouse will come, the distribution will come, um, and in the entire perspective, there are a lot of factors which are there, right? There are things that you need to take care about: safety of the people,
Yes, sir.